Hey, and I want to particularly invite you back next week. There's a lot of fun that we have taking the time for these Elf on the Shelf things and our kids choir. I want to invite you back next week. It's a fun season that we lean in towards making this something the kids find fun and safe and memorable for their lifetimes. Also, Christmas Eve is coming up, so if you don't have plans yet, I hope you're making plans to be here at 5 p.m. on that night. It's going to be an amazing night. I think there's going to be lots of surprises as well, things before service, and it's going to be a fantastic night with you. So I want you all, as we get started, kids, I need your help today, parents, families, adults of all ages today. I need your help this morning settling a debate for me, all right? And here's the thing. When you go on vacation or you go out of town, sorry, Mike, I've got to ask this question. Are you those families that packs up every food item that's already in your fridge and your pantry? You're the cooler people, all right? You're the, we're going to save that penny, take your dollar pasta, and take it with you. Or are you, the point of vacation is to go eat new places? And if I need groceries, it'll be minimal, and we're going to stop and get it. So who are the, I'm going to pack all my groceries people? All right, look around. You have some friends. There are friends among you. Who are the, when we go out of town, the purpose is that we purchase a bed to sleep in so that we can eat somewhere new. Where are those people? You're my people. We love you. Now, there's room for everyone across that. And what I'm about to say, I hear myself how inherently privileged it is that I'm about to complain about packing food that I have available to me. So let's get past that to make this point. I don't desire to pack our food. You go on vacation to eat new places. I didn't grow up that way. We went places to eat. A pair marrying Eliza and going out of town with her family, they are pack the food pantry sort of people. And when we went out of town with them for Thanksgiving last week, there were 14 of us, and I promise you, the amount of food that was brought among 4 families could have fed all 14 of us for probably 3 months if the world had gone south. I'm not a pack your food person. And when we travel with them, I love them dearly, and we get along, and they are the best in-law family I could have ever asked for. But packing food and cooking food, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. This isn't in my script, but I gotta say, we made soup on Tuesdays, my friends. We made 3 pots of soups with butter and dairy. And these Hodge family stomachs of the Vikings were okay with leaving this soup out on the deck for days at a time. And you know, the sun rotates, so what was in the shade at 7 a.m. is not in the shade at noon. And so it's hitting the sun, it's raising the degrees, and Friday night, days later, we just finished a long day at Dollywood. They're like, let's save that money. Let's get the soup off the back deck that's been sitting there for 3 days. And I'm like, not on my watch, Jesus, not on my watch. We're going down the street, we're ordering some fried chicken that is going to be perfectly cooked to the acceptable temperature. And these Viking stomachs didn't get sick. It blows my mind every time, but I'm still not trying to be like them. So anyways, when you go on vacation, the point is to eat out, in my humble opinion. It's not my favorite. One of the reasons why is I don't like packing all that stuff. Now, I was blessed because, Mike took a lot of our stuff last week, but I play a little game from trip to trip. How little stuff can I take without leaving something that I need at home? Does anyone else play that game? All right. It's a game. I'm terrible at it with my own clothes. I think I took 6 times the amount of clothes I needed. But as far as the other stuff, the girls, they made it. They barely. Here's the deal. The goal is always to travel with a little less, a little lighter, and more efficient, more free, more room in the car. It's a game that I play. But here's what's not a game. It's when you and I hold on to things that we're invited to let go of. It's when we pack our lives heavy with things like we are going to lean in this entire Christmas season in a journey of forgiveness. It's when we pack our lives heavy and full of unforgiveness, when we are continually invited to experience the freedom of forgiveness. And let me say it this way: to be hurt and to cause hurt, that's natural. But to forgive, that's supernatural. That is heaven on earth stuff. Do you remember when Jesus taught us to pray? And part of what he taught us to pray, and just a few things that he could have named, was, forgive us our debts as we forgive the debts of others. Of all the things he could have named when he said, this is how I want you to pray, he included forgiveness. Why? Because it's really, really important. And here's my belief this morning, from the youngest in the room to the oldest in the room, and young ones, we're coming at you in just a second. It's that every single one of us has something we need to let go of and someone that we need to forgive. That could be God, and that's an unpopular thing to say out loud. Some of you need to forgive God today. Some of you need to forgive yourself, or you need to forgive others. And so today, the invitation, and over the next few weeks, is really to lean into Jesus' invitation through the power of the Spirit to receive forgiveness and then give forgiveness away. And I'm convinced that as you receive forgiveness and give forgiveness, your inner world becomes a little lighter, a little more efficient, a little less overly packed and heavy. And as we pivot now to the kids, I want to say a quick thing to all the parents in the room in particular. I'm going to bring us up to speed for a moment. And I'm going to leave you all out of this for a second. And we're going to talk to our kids for a minute. So to families, please remember, as we lean into forgiveness this season, that everything we do, everything about who we are, it creates pathways for our kids. And part of what that means is that your relationship, your experience of, your embodying of, your practice of forgiveness or unforgiveness is creating pathways for your kids' experiences, embodiment of, and practices of forgiveness or unforgiveness. It is a direct impactor of their identity. Is a direct wedge point that can create gaps in their sense of who they are and their value and how to navigate life and how to deal with relationships and how to solve conflict and how to see who they really are in light of who Christ says they are. And you and I as parents, as grandparents, as people that just care about our kids, we can never control their story, right? And boy, would it be nice if we could. We can't control their life's outcomes. We can't even control who they become. But please don't ever underestimate how important it is for who you are and how that dictates who they become. And forgiveness, or the holding on of unforgiveness, that is a toxic trait and a toxic thing in your life from the inside out, is one of those things. And so here's a question to parents. In the area of unforgiveness this morning, and forgiveness, are you giving your kids? Are you giving to kids that you care about? Are you giving them a healthy pathway towards receiving and giving forgiveness? So you sit with that question as I now invite the kids. Any kids in the room that are not up here, I'm going to invite you guys to come all the way forward. If you want to, parents, you can come with them. We're going old school style. This is the kids' moment. They can come forward, and we're going to talk a little bit about forgiveness. So kids, I invite you guys up. Would you feel welcome as they're coming forward? You guys can sit just right up here, right up here. So I got a question for you, kiddos. Could you raise your hand for me if have you ever had to forgive someone? Yeah. Same. My brother Jared, I don't think I see him this morning. When I was your all's age, loved to build Lincoln Logs. Anybody remember what Lincoln Logs are? Yeah, to the parents in the room, yeah. Does that date us a little bit? Do they still make Lincoln Logs or Legos? Okay, yes, fantastic. We're going to find those. Lincoln Logs are this amazing thing. You get to build cool stuff. I was the builder. My brothers were the destroyers. Okay? Builder, destroyer. Sometimes they had my permission when it was time to destroy, and sometimes they didn't. And I can remember very vividly in my parents' rec room a day that I had spent a lot of time building some Lincoln Logs. And I was the guy that did it pretty thorough. I'm trying to match the box. And here came my wrecking machine brothers in here, and they destroyed prematurely. And I was upset about it. And so I had to practice in that moment this whole thing called forgiveness. And that's not very easy. Jesus one time talked about forgiveness, and he was talking to a group of people that included kids and adults, and he said this. He said, suppose you are offering your gift at the altar, and you remember that your brother or sister has something against you. Leave your gift in front of the altar, and first go and make peace with them, then come back and offer your gift. Now, it's hard to know what that means, right? So to help me play out what I think that means, I'm going to need 2 volunteers, okay? So do I have, all right, we got to, come on up, Ava. We know, Lyric, come on up. That's beautiful. Would you all make them feel welcome? There's stairs, or once you're young, you can do that. All right, so my friends, we're going to play a game. And this game is called the game of real life. Can everyone say real life? Life real. I like the way. Is she a door C sort of person? A plus. All right. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to play a game. The point is, you guys step back here with me. You're going to stand shoulder to shoulder right here beside each other. Perfect. Can everyone see them okay? And we're going to do a little experiment with some forgiveness. And so I'm going to give you a card, Ava, first, and you are going to pick it up. This is a little board game. Pretend there's a big board, and you're going to be stepping. So you pick up a card in this game of real life, and it says, can you read it really, really loud?
It's your birthday. Move forward 3 steps.
It's your birthday. Move forward 3 steps. So take 3 steps. 1, 2, 3, and stop. So it's her birthday. Happy birthday, by the way. Happy birthday. No, it's not really. All right. And Lyric is going to take a game. These 2 are friends, all right? And some things are happening in real life. And card number 2 comes up, and it says, you didn't get invited to your friend's birthday party, and it hurt your feelings. Everyone go, boo, Ava. Maybe we're going to forgive you. So you say something mean to them. Move away 3 steps from your friends. Oh, man, sad. Sad. These friends that were once so close are struggling to be friends. Now, guys, does that sort of thing happen in your life? Where someone that was a friend maybe gets a little bit more distant, something happens, a brother or sister or something like that. Well, it causes a break in the relationship. But let's see what's happening in this game of real life, what might happen next. So can you take the top card off of here? So I'll read it. Ava is living her best life. She's having a great birthday party, and she gets some awesome gifts as well. So she gets to move forward 2 more steps. Ava's living her best life. She is excited, but friend back here, Lyric, who's feeling lonely and is playing it perfectly with her face this morning, things develop. But because Lyric is so social and butterfly, you find a new friend to sit with at school and at church. So you get to move forward 1 more step. Ooh, big step, big step. So the distance, it got a little bit bigger, right? And then it came back together. So we're starting to see their friendship is changing. And it looks like these 2 friends might just keep going on different paths, right? They started together, and now they're so far apart. The question is, Lyric, who is hurt because she didn't get invited to the party, is this going to break the relationship to go in different directions in the long run? And you might think you know, if we were to take a guess right now, who do you think the one is that needs to apologize to their friend? Ava. What did you do? I mean, it was just my birthday, right? But you didn't include Lyric, and Lyric is feeling a little left out. But Lyric's made a new friend. So let's see what happens next in this game of life. So You've chosen this card, and it says, you realize, though, that your friend isn't speaking to you anymore, and it hurts. So you're now hurt because she's hurt and not talking to you. And so you take a step back off your moral high horse. And Lyric, the gap is starting to close a little bit. And look how innocent she's standing. Is this her go-to pose? Like, where's Shavana and Jeff? I love this. So in her game of life, they're dealing and working through. You've chosen these cards, and I'm not doing it correctly, but it says, you keep going to church and to school, and you keep making friends. Take two steps forward. Oh. So they're getting close. Are they back together yet? No. Has anyone said anything of like an apology or asked for forgiveness? No. Are they still heading the wrong or the opposite directions? Look at what's happening. Both of these friends are trying to move on. They're trying to figure out, but have they dealt with their problem yet? No. They haven't talked to each other. No one's asked for forgiveness. And this little social butterfly is out here just making friends like it's no problem. We haven't said if Ava's made any more friends yet. What if this was Ava's only friend? Well, she should have invited her to the party, right? Well, let's see what happens next. I think I can sense what's going to happen here pretty soon. So Ava takes this from the next game of life, and she says, you know that your friend is still mad. And you think about trying to explain why the party was so small and you couldn't invite everyone. So you take a step forward because you're feeling pretty sure that she just doesn't understand. She doesn't know why you had to keep the party small and that you had to choose other people. So are you feeling like she understands you right now? Are you feeling like she understands you right now? Are you mad at each other? Good job, parents. Well, it just so happens Lyric is such an incredible Bible scholar that she senses in her spirit that the real life says to read Matthew 5:23 and 24 again, and you realize what you need to do. And remember, here's what it said. Suppose you're offering your gift at the altar, and you remember that your brother or sister has something against you. Leave your gift in front of the altar, and first, everyone say first. First go and make peace with them, then come back and offer your gift. Lyric read that scripture. She knew what she had to do. It has something to do with, what do you think it's going to be? Are you going to try to make peace? Maybe say sorry? You're just going to try to maybe figure this out together. And it might seem easier. Now let me ask you, what would be easier right now? What do you think is easier? To just ignore this whole thing and be like, you know what, Ava, she made Lyric mad. You must have had some friends at the party. Who cares if she's angry at you? Just move on. And here's Lyric out here. She's made new friends. She's already replaced Ava as fast as she possibly could. She's living her best life. What would be the easier thing? Just to move on? Or to go ahead and have that difficult conversation? What do you think's easier? Conversation? I love it. I think most of us would probably say the easier thing would be like, let's ghost the problem and move on. See you later, right? But they're kind of not feeling that that's what they want to do. And so real life hands them another thing. And Ava wakes up one day and she realizes that your friend apologized. Lyric came and apologized and for saying things about you behind your back. And you feel like you also need to apologize for your part. You haven't done it yet. The gap's still here. You know what the easier choice would be. But then what happens as Lyric has come to apologize, what has she had to do? Did she stay here or did she come closer to Ava to do that? She came closer. So she came and apologized. She said, I'm sorry for the things I've said. And Ava said, you know what? I'm sorry too for the things that I had said. And what happens here is that what began with a big gap of being apart from each other, They listened to what Jesus said, which was to go make peace. And now where are they? They're together. Are they in the same place they started?
No.
They're not. But are they together? They are. That's kind of interesting, right? Did our game turn out really well for them? I think it did. One of our friends took the first step to apologize because she had done something wrong. What's interesting here is who was the one that apologized first for having done something wrong? It was Lyric. But I thought earlier everyone thought that the person that needed to apologize to the other was Ava. Yeah, Ava. It wasn't.
Me.
See, what had happened was, how did Lyric deal with her hurt with Ava? She backed up and she talked about Ava behind her back. And it was actually Lyric that turned her hurt and her unforgiveness into taking a step to offer forgiveness to Ava first. And when Ava realized that Lyric had done that for her, Ava gave that forgiveness right back. And now here they are, both winning and having won this little relationship battle. Is this easy to do? No. It's really hard, actually. And life is pretty complicated. You all have had some complicated things in your lives. And one of the things that I just want to give you a warning, and all the adults in the room can back me up on this, is that one of the things that never goes away is that you always have someone or something to forgive. Always one of the things that happen, things that get complicated. And sometimes offering forgiveness is something you have to do even when they haven't said anything to you. Ava had not said anything to Lyric, had she? But Lyric offered forgiveness and asked for forgiveness for the things that she had done. It's not about the other person realizing that they've done wrong and apologizing. It's about you choosing to make peace even if things don't turn out perfectly. So, in this game, in this real life, Ava and Lyric have done the hard work of working through it, forgiveness, and here they stand together. So give them a round of applause this morning. You guys can head down. So here's the big idea. As we talk about forgiveness this morning, and we begin to pivot towards all of us have people. All of us have situations. All of us have conflict. All of us have someone or something that we need to forgive. Based on what Jesus taught us here, that there is something that's important for us to take the first step. So, kiddos, will you read this with me? This is our big idea today. So can you read this with me? Take the first step to forgive others. Take the first step to forgive others. It's best to forgive quickly because the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Also, the longer you wait, your hurt and anger and unforgiveness, it hurts you. It hurts you. And I want to show you one last thing, all right? I've got a bottle of water here. This is a very classy bottle of water. I have a straw. I have duct tape. In this bottle, I did. Actually, even better, I took a drill gun to it so it could be nice and OCD, perfectly circular. I'm a monster. You can forgive me later. I destroyed this bottle. So think of this bottle. It's clear. Of like, this is you. This is you when things are good. This is thing when nothing's bad or mean or no one said something to you. But in our game, that moment that Ava didn't invite Lyric to her party, here's a little bit of what started to happen inside of both of them. Things started to get a little bit discolored. That water, not quite as nice. I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to drink it. It's blue right now. They had their issue. Then, that moment when Lyric replaced Ava with some other friends, what else happened inside them? They're just adding a little bit more to their hurt. A little bit more to their hurt. It's uglier and uglier, darker. It's just not good. Does anyone want to drink that? I mean, I know someone would, but the answer is no. I'm making grape juice. It looks like grape juice. Me too. Things keep going south. When Jared destroyed my Lincoln Logs, this is what happened inside of me. When you have a fight with a friend at school and they sit at the lunch table that wasn't yours. When someone talks about you or messages or sends a message about you to friends that you're not down with. This is what happens. From the youngest to the oldest in the room, you know that part of the problem with unforgiveness is what it does inside of us. And we're going to talk about that next week as adults. But hold on to that. Because what happens the longer we sit with our own forgiveness, we are leaving things inside of us that will destroy us. Not just that relationship, but they will destroy us. They are like poison to our soul. And forgiveness, as much as it can be about the other person, it's also about us. And here's a little bit about what happens when we give forgiveness and we take that step. Are you ready? You may want to mute this, JD. I don't know what's about to. I hope not. I've practiced this a lot, so we'll see what happens. This is a little bit about the power of forgiveness in our life. Forgiveness comes in, and it has a way of taking what's in there and removing it. And it takes it somewhere else. It comes up and out of us, and it drains us of the hurt, drains us of the poison, makes us healthy again. It rebuilds our relationships. And the thing that was left, that if we left it inside of us, that would eventually destroy us, is no longer there. The power of forgiveness is not just about fixing that relationship. It's not just about fixing that relationship. The power of forgiveness is that it just helps you no longer live hurting and struggling. Okay? So, how many of you would like to get rid of, if you have some of this inside of you, how many of you would like to get rid of that? Yeah, I know I would. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to go back to your moms and dads for a moment. Thank you guys for being up here. And I'm going to invite everyone to stand. Kids, you can stand with your moms and dads, with your family that came. Here's the reality for everyone. Every single one of us has at least a little bit of this inside of us. I don't know what that is for you. I don't know what it is for your story. I don't know if it's recent or if it's old, if it's back to things you don't even know how to name yet. I don't know what that is. But I also know that part of Jesus' plan in coming in and stepping into time in a season of Christmas was to unlock this eternal gift of forgiveness that wasn't just about there, and it wasn't just about eternity. It was like the heaven on earth stuff right now. And a key piece of your future rests in our practice of forgiveness. And so we're just going to take a moment in our closing minutes today as a church family together, from the youngest to the oldest. We're going to sing a song, and here's what I want you to reflect on as we sing. Is over the course of these next several weeks, as we lean into this journey of forgiveness, would you ask God to bring to the surface the thing or person or situation, even if painful, to the surface so that you may begin to take that first step towards forgiveness? And I want you to think about it in three categories. The first is, again, it's a little bit unpopular to say out loud, but I think we all have these things. Is there something you need to wrestle with God about? And even say out loud, like, I forgive you, God. Does he need your forgiveness? Not for his own sake, but you need to maybe say that. Is there something in yourself, a thing that you did, a thing that you hoped for, a thing in the past that it's a regret, it's a source of pain in your life? And is there something someone has done to you? Because the longer this sits inside of us, more powerful a force it becomes. And you can't just lock this away forever. And so, what if the gift that God has for you most profoundly this Christmas is to embrace not just God's gift of forgiveness to you, but to take yourself as being a forgiven person and offer that to people. It is painful work, it is slow work, but it also can be powerful and instantaneous. There is a God, we have a God that does both. And so when we sing songs about God's power and building our lives about Him, forgiveness is part of that. So would you pray with me as I lead us into this moment, and then we sing together and we'll dismiss afterwards. So Father, thank you for your gift of forgiveness to us. Thank you that you extend that to us and that it changes us and restores us, and you're never done forgiving and redeeming. And Jesus, your teaching and your life is full of just chance after chance to hold something against someone else, and you don't. You listen, you're slow, you're compassionate, you're empathetic, and ultimately you're forgiving. God, I pray that you would help us I pray that you'll help us to become those kinds of people. God, I pray that you'll build a church here, a community here that is a forgiving people, that the roots of bitterness and anger and unforgiveness that hold us down and just pack us with a heavy burden that we're never meant to carry, that you'll begin to free us even today. And from the youngest to the oldest in the room, may we be practitioners, embodiments, living, breathing channels of your forgiveness, receiving it and giving it, receiving it and giving it. And for those that need to know who they are so they can give that to others, would you speak that into their brain today? Would you deposit down into their soul a deep sense of who they are? Help us as parents, as adults, as grandparents, to model this the best way that we can. So Jesus, we love you. It's upon your forgiveness that we reflect in these coming moments. Would you sing with us this morning?